So I wanted to update my review of Spoton. I did a 2-month review 2 years ago on the Spoton collar. This is Charlie. This is a big Sheppy that I talked about in my first video. He's a little concerned right now as to why we are sitting in the bathroom. So he's a little spooked. I think I talked about in the first video. He's a bit of a pansy. But I wanted to do another review on this collar. I know in my first video a lot of people asked if I was being paid for my review, and I am not. This is not a product that the company reached out to me and sent me for reviews or anything like that. This is simply, I am a very happy customer and very pleased to have been with Spoton for as long as I have. In my 2-month review, I had talked about my property and my situation and how well the collar was working for me at that time. And none of that has changed. It's really been just a great tool to have for my Sheppy, for keeping him home. And he has discovered how much more of the yard he has, and he just has so much more space to be a dog, and I'm so grateful for that. I really truly couldn't be more grateful for the fact that he is not limited by a transmitter that is only giving him a really small portion of my yard. So I'm really grateful for the freedom that he's been able to have with this collar. I talked a lot about how sensitive he is to his collars and how much he distrusts things once they've betrayed him. And I've been able to tone down the static mode on his collars significantly. Not that it was super high in the first place, but I've been able to tone it down significantly. And it's still just enough to let him know that his collar will bite him if he goes places that he's not supposed to go. But I love that control. I love being able to go into the app and change whatever settings I need to change, and communicate with the company and check on him while I'm at work. I do still use the cellular plan. I can't help but want to be able to check on him. Anybody who has, you know, pets or whatever, like, just knowing that they're okay while you're away is a nice thing to know. And it's funny because the neighbor that we had the chicken circumstances with, where Charlie was being accused of eating chickens at my neighbor's yard, has completely stopped because they are fully aware of Charlie's collars. So he is no longer being accused of that, and he is more welcome where he is. So I honestly have Spoton to thank for that. There was a circumstance that I had talked about in my 2-month review where I was having an issue with populating satellites after I had updated the collar, and that I'd reached out to them. They connected to the collar and it was no longer an issue. It was a very quick and easy conversation and a quick and easy fix. And I still very much stand on the same grounds as far as communicating with them is very easy. I still have ran into minimal issues in that aspect of things. I did have a much larger issue with the collar come up, I'd say probably like 6 months ago, where I'm still horrible about charging this collar. There's been times that Charlie's worn it for, 3 or 4 days, and I've completely forgotten to charge it because I still really only get like 14 hours of charge time with the collar. But he did not know that it was off which was great, but he does need to still have a charged collar so that if he does decide to try to challenge the fence, he's given reminders. But because of me not being on top of keeping the collar charged, I went to charge it one day, and as soon as I put it on the charger, the light came on like it was supposed to, and then the light turned off. And so I checked the color on the app, and the app was saying that the color was off. So I gave it a little bit of time, thinking, you know, maybe it just needed to reboot, or it just needs more time on the charger. But even like 30 to 45 minutes later, the color was still off. I could not get it to turn back on, no matter how much I tried. So I reached out to the company, and this is where my massive shout out to Spoton comes in, because they really did go above and beyond to take care of me as their customer and take care of Charlie, because that's the whole point, is keeping these guys safe and making sure that the color is doing everything it needs to do that. I had reached out to them. I let them know that the color was having some issues. They had sent me like a list of troubleshooting steps to go through to try to get the color back on. None of it was working. I tried over and over and over again. So I reached back out to the company again. I said, this is not working. I do need a fix. I really need this color working. So they sent me back a message saying to go ahead and call them. They needed to speak to me directly. And they were so nice. They were so understanding. They went through everything with me step by step. We finally determined that nothing that we were doing was going to work. Unfortunately, that collar had, from what I understand, it had locked itself out. So I had put the collar on the charger. It indicated that it was charging, and then it, for whatever reason, once it like connected to my phone, it saw that there was an update. It tried to grab that update, but there wasn't enough charge on the collar for it to do that. And so it shut off, and then it locked itself out. I'm not really sure why it did that. I don't think these are supposed to update unless they have like at least 20%. But for whatever reason, that collar said, oh, update, and tried to grab it. It was unfortunate that it happened, but the company was able to get all of that figured out for me. They sent me a replacement collar. And it was so fast. It took almost no time to get the replacement collar. And they were so nice, and they were so understanding. I did have to do a couple things, like send them pictures of the collar and go through, you know, some questions about the collar's condition, and they were very happy with it. I'm sure that some people's dogs have gotten into some pretty crazy situations where the collar has unfortunately been abused or damaged or what have you. But Charlie's collar was in really good condition, but they were still able to you know, work their magic and get me a new collar. Now, they did let me know that would be my only replacement, that my next replacement I would have to pay for, which is fine. That is understandable. I have no qualms with that, but the fact that they got me one so quickly and they were so nice, we all know dealing with customer support with just about any company is really hard to do, and they tend not to care as much as you might want them to about whatever crummy situation you're in, and Spoton was not like that. So I am so grateful for them. And the new color came in. It was set up pretty much immediately, and he's been using it ever since, and it's been really, really great. I still have no qualms with the build of the collar itself or the app functions or anything like that. I love how much control I have over this collar. one of my favorite things that I've done with this collar so far is I love to camp. I love to take my dogs camping. Um, it's just a very fun thing to be able to go do, but I have to keep him safe in the process. So, excuse me, I get to my campsite, I set everything up, and then before I let my dogs loose, I build a fence for Charlie, and he is very well aware of the tent and the canopy, and the camping setup is his safe zone, and he will figure out his parameter, and that's all it takes. Um, he does really great on this collar, even in locations that he is not used to. So I'm so grateful for how easy it is to teach your dog how to use this collar, and um, how much it protects Charlie. So the one thing that I do want to say to Spoton is um, my dog is a barker. He is unfortunately a very loud, obnoxious barker, and so currently Charlie wears two collars. He wears this, and he also wears a bark collar. Add a feature for barking dogs. That would just be the cherry on top. It really would be. If you ever added that function, that would be so cool. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Charlie, stop it. Like I said, Charlie's a barker. But adding a feature for barking dogs, that would be amazing. That is my only gripe. That's literally it. I've had no issues with the collar, with the company, with troubleshooting, um, or getting help when the troubleshooting doesn't work. So my biggest thing that I want to do with this video is encourage people to go with this company. Not just because this is such a great tool, but because the company honestly cares about their customers, and they care about providing good customer support. And that's huge for any company to provide. We've all been in that situation where we are frustrated and trying to resolve an issue with customer service, and they are just not being as supportive as we feel like they need to be. So thank you so much to Spoton, and for any of you out there that are looking for a good, safe tool for your dog, for at home, for camping, for vacationing, for whatever. I very much encourage this collar. So thank you.